As big tech pours colossal sums into AI, one major player is moving more cautiously. Apple, the company's AI lead, Craig Federighi, is known for his frugality and for initially being hesitant to dive into AI. Now he is at a pivotal moment as Apple tries to keep pace with rivals while sticking to a more measured strategy. The Information published an in-depth story looking at this strategy. I want to bring on our Apple reporter, Aaron Tilley, who was one of the reporters behind that piece. Aaron, welcome to the show. It's great to have you back.
Hey, good to be back.
So, what made you want to write this story in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, Craig has always had a fascination for me. I think he's been this like pivotal person inside the company, but not, I mean, people know of him because he's always doing the big part of the announcements, but I don't think he's like, I haven't really had a chance to dig into him as much as I wanted to over the years covering Apple. He's always been this hugely important person inside the company. So I think just he's become more important AI. He's taken over increasingly more of AI, and he's just this crucial person kind of figuring out Apple's future right now.
And how has his role evolved now as Apple has started toying with AI to now going headfirst into AI?
Yeah, so he's first it all started last year, early last year when he took over Siri. The Siri team had been delaying the launch of this big overhaul of the voice assistant, and he took over the entire endeavor. And then this past this over 2 months ago, he took over the rest of the AI team. So that includes all their sort of research and development and in all their efforts to sort of internally develop the AI models themselves.
Now, despite all this, according to your reporting, he was initially a bit of a skeptic about AI, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like over the years, like he has just shot down over and over efforts to build AI features inside Apple products. He is a big skeptic of just the reliability of AI inside Apple products, and also just the privacy and security components are a huge issue for him because those are really big issues for him. And he's just like he just needs predictability in his software, the software he likes. So he's always pushed back on integrating AI in his products.
And has he come around to it now, or is he still adopting that mentality?
He definitely has gotten on board. I mean, I think just the GPT moment, like the rest of the tech industry, has really kind of forced a lot of these people, the skeptics' hands on these issues. You just can't ignore it now. Just the success of AI and these LLMs, these chatbots. So he's had to get on board. Both, I mean, for a political reason internally for Apple, I think from the board level down, there's this need they know they need to get on board, and so he needs to play that game. But I think, he has seen, I think, the significant, progress that AI has made.
But you talked a little bit about his approach towards investment, and AI, we know well, is a very expensive endeavor. And so it strikes me as a bit of a tension here. If you have an executive that is known to be a little bit more hesitant to spend heavily on investment that may not pay off, and then you have this trend that takes a lot of money, how has he come around to that? Has he kept that sort of frugal mindset with AI? And I mean, we'll get to the Google deal in a second, but how has that changed?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything's gonna change Craig's mentality on spending. He is, his frugality is in his core DNA, both in his personal and professional life. He'll scrutinize a team's budget down to the snacks they can buy. I don't think anything's changing that for him. So he's gonna be really, I think, consistent on that and look for ways Apple can efficiently kind of move in the AI era.
Okay. So now we have this Google deal that Apple has signed. It's the licensing deal for Gemini. It's going to power many of the new features behind Siri, if I'm not mistaken, as it comes out. What do we know now about Apple's own internal efforts to develop their own models, and how does Craig feel about those efforts?
Yeah, that's been a big point of tension between him and this internal AI effort. The team building that is under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of sort of frustration, that team kind of having to, work so hard on developing this in-house, and then for Apple just to move to an external model like they've done. But they are still working on internal models, but much smaller models that will work on device, with the goal to eventually, do it all in-house. That's Apple's sort of strategy very consistently over the years. If they need to do something, work with an external supplier of some critical piece of technology, they'll do it, but eventually they'll always in-house it. This is obviously different than their whole chip endeavor, which has been very successful on that front, but that's the eventual goal here.
And you talked about the tension, between Craig and these teams. So what is his tension with them exactly?
He just doesn't think they're moving fast enough. Their quality of models aren't good enough for Apple, and he just doesn't think it's ready for prime time. So, and they think he's not, on their end, from their perspective, he's not doing a good enough job shrinking down the models they're offering to work on Apple devices. So there's a bit of pointing fingers at each other for who's to blame on this front. But they they're trying their hardest with what the resources they have inside Apple.
And how do you think this story inevitably plays out in the long term? In the short term, they have the Google deal, so there doesn't seem to be a huge rush. But how do you think it goes?
Um, I think I think they're gonna be dependent on I think Apple will be dependent on Google and pretty much, the not the long term, but the medium term. I mean, it all depends. First of all, does AI really commoditize? Like, are these LLMs going to get cheaper and cheaper? And if that's the case, I mean, they're going to be able to insource it eventually. But certainly in the medium term, it's going to be Google is going to be a critical partner in Apple's AI work going forward.
Great. Well, Aaron, I want to thank you for coming on. That is Aaron Tilley, our Apple reporter here at The Information.